Hi everybody, so today we're joined by Shelley, and Shelley has been volunteering with Valley Step. So Shelley, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself to begin with?
Okay, well, I'm 48 years old, and the last few years I've been studying a BSc in psychology. The reason for that was because I was working in a family business and decided that it really wasn't where I wanted to be, for the next 10 to 15 years. I decided to change course. My inspiration for doing psychology was really because I was interested in educational psychology. And this was because I feel very strongly about parents who can't access support, either for lack of self-efficacy in that area, or just an inability to negotiate a system. My own experience of that showed me that it's quite difficult for parents, and sometimes they just need an advocate. However, to go on to that, you really needed to be doing a PhD. So I've sort of like been volunteering with charities to see where, when I come to the end of my course, if it's something I could sort of like offer as a service once I'm qualified, and I've had discussions with Valley Steps, and it's something we might look at, to incorporate support for parents, as well as the mindfulness and the stress control, just a little area that, we might be able to deliver on.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. How did you get involved with Valley Steps?
Well, as part of the course, you are required to do a 70-hour placement, and Valley Steps are in partnership with USW. So when you look at the Careers Connect website, it comes up as a place that will consider taking students for a work experience placement. It was just it was natural sort of progression for me to go in, because my sort of like motivations are supporting people, rather than sort of solving problems. I think people need support rather than solutions a lot of the time, and that just seemed to be fitting with my ethos.
Yeah, thank you. So what sort of things do you do, or did you do, or do you do now as a volunteer?
Well, obviously, up until the lockdown, I was supporting the practitioners, and generally all that means is that I go along to the venues, and while the practitioner is delivering the course, the volunteers are there really just to support that. We welcome the clients to coming in, help set up the venue. We're there to sort of like help with any questions that anybody may ask. Sometimes they just want resources, so we take the details and make sure they can access, what we can provide for them.
Great. So I'll hand you over to Charlotte now.
So what benefits do you think there are to volunteering, or how did the volunteering help you, Shelley?
I think in general, if you are volunteering, it means that you've actually, got that time and ability to provide some sort of service back into your community, that's not remunerated. And I just think if you're in a position to do that, it's great if you can, because there's not enough give and take in communities, I don't think. Everybody's looking to earn money, which is fair enough. But I think if you're in a position where you can provide a little bit on the side, as just out of community spirit, it's a worthwhile thing to do. And I think it really sort of like, puts it in the bank for yourself emotionally and spiritually, and it works all round.
Yeah, lots of benefits. Awesome. So I wondered if we could ask you a bit about going back to uni.
Yeah.
So what's kind of exciting you? What are you looking forward to about going back
Finishing?
to uni?
I did 2 years foundation course, and then another 2 years to qualify. So it feels like I've been going for a long time. So the finishing line is there in sight. I'm looking forward to my dissertation, getting my research, which, as I mentioned before, will be around supporting children with additional learning needs and supporting parents who need to access services. As I said, it's quite tricky for a lot of people to be able to make phone calls, keep emailing, generally make a nuisance of yourself just to get, to see an educational psychologist, for instance, or to get into CAMS, or just to sort of like be able to discuss your concerns with somebody. So yeah, my dissertation is going to be based on that. I've actually sort of like been quite fortunate to have a lot of interest already.
Brilliant. Are there any things that are kind of worrying you about going back to uni?
Juggling it all, really, because I'm not quite sure what's happening with the schools. I don't know if we're going to be required to be on campus as much as we were. I very much doubt it, but yeah, like I say, with running a business, with managing 3 children's lives and also doing a degree, it is just there's a lot of juggling, and I just think it might get a little bit more awkward than it was before, even now with the restrictions.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, tricky times all round. So I'll pass you back to Sue.
Hey, so do you think there are any positive benefits to the changes being made for September?
I don't know about positive. I think we've all become so used to the way things are now that I don't think we're really seeing sort of like it as a positive or negative. It just is. I think people might find that having to sort of like study at home is going to be challenging, because while we might get some students who are very good at that, a lot of students do need to be in the lecture hall, they do need to be in the workshops. So I think that's going to be a massive challenge for people to manage their time if they've not got a timetable, So positives, I struggle to find one, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, and that's it. I suppose it might suit some people more than others. So some people might see it positive, some not. Don't really see many positives.
Yeah, maybe the flexibility would be a positive, but other than that, no.
Great. So do you have any tips for students to help them if they're feeling a bit overwhelmed about going to university? So thinking about your experiences, what helped you, any tips and tricks and things that you think could be helpful?
Well, I'm coming from a mature student's point of view. So really, for me, it was about managing time. But then I would say that would apply to any age group in any cohort, because I've, got friends that I study alongside with who have got into a little bit of difficulty towards the end, because, they had social lives and work commitments, and really the snowball effect towards the end of term, where everything's got to be in, can take you by surprise. And you really do find that, wow, we've got so much to do. So managing your time, even if it's just 2 hours a night that you put aside every single night, rather than sort of like deciding to work through the night to get an essay done. If you do 8 from 10, just put those 2 hours aside, tape your 9 o'clock show, and do that every night. You'll just find that you'll get it done easier, but that's easier said than done, I realise. But yeah, managing time is probably the key thing. But you only need small amounts of time, an hour or 2 every single night, rather than devoting whole weekends to an essay or an assignment. Is easier.
Yeah, so I don't know, do you have any other further questions, Charlotte? Anything else?
I wondered if there was anything that helped you particularly when you were sort of thinking about going to uni, maybe for the first time.
Yeah, no, I think at the time I was, still had my children sitting exams, and I suppose also I wanted to be a bit of a role model for them, to be able to understand how, further and higher education worked, so that I could, because I hadn't had that experience myself before. I'd gone from 16 straight out to work. So sort of gaining that experience for myself will be something I'd pass on to them. So that was another motivation, definitely.
Brilliant. Oh, fab. Oh, well, thank you so much, Shelley. It's been great to talk to you.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.